The Brighton cattle market opened in the mid-1700s, creating a bustling business district that exploded when the railroad came through in 1834. The Brighton stockyards employed thousands of people, and the neighborhood thrived until the Mass Pike was built. That's when things changed, according to the project manager for the Boston Redevelopment Authority.
When the stockyards went away due to the Mass Pike, it really created an area that was very much industrial and almost a bit forgotten.
That's changing with the demolition of abandoned warehouses next to the New Balance Shoe Company headquarters on Guest Street. Matt LeBreton, a senior manager for New Balance, says a $500 million development project will go up here. It will include a hotel, sports complex, office buildings, and restaurants.
This is the new gateway to the city from the west, and we're bringing a lot here from a neighborhood that didn't have much in the past, and we're really transforming it.
City planners have big plans for Brighton, anticipating several projects will transform it into the new hip neighborhood.
You have the Mount Vernon company that is actually proposing a residential development right up the street from the New Balance development. And I think people are really seeing that when New Balance is investing here, so we should invest here.
Mount Vernon is a company that plans to build multifamily housing, creating 100 new apartments in the neighborhood. And the commuter train is coming back. Nearly a half-century after 3 train stops were shuttered in Brighton, a new commuter rail station is being built called Boston Landing. In a unique public-private project, New Balance will pay the estimated $15 million to build the platform, and for 10 years, they will also pay to maintain it. Right across from the platform will be a sports complex where, rumor has it, the Boston Bruins will play, though we're told that's not a done deal yet. The complex will have a new running track.
That track, being on hydraulics, will be able to come down and be used for soccer and lacrosse and a whole host of other activities, both for the community but for colleges and universities in the area.
Across a greenway will be a new hotel catering to nearby Boston College, Boston University, and Harvard, which has just gotten the green light to also expand with another new hotel and sports arena, plus a conference center and 3 buildings. Developers are calling it the new Health and Wellness District, a far cry from the old Brighton stockyards.
We're bringing commuting lifestyle back into a neighborhood that's been absent such for a long time.
In Brighton, Gail Huff, WGBH News.
Right now, for more on how the Boston Landing development will transform this neighborhood, I'm joined by Alana Olson, the executive director of the nonprofit group Alston Village Main Streets.
Hi.
So, the Alston-Brighton neighborhood, I happen to know because we work in that area, is a very vocal group. They don't hesitate to speak up if they're unhappy. So how do they feel about this new Brighton Landing development?
Well, I think just like with any other project, we have our priorities as a community. We want to ensure that this integrates nicely into our existing community. We want to make sure that it's an open and useful thing, and we also want to make sure that it's really in line with the vision that we have, as well as Jim and Ann Davis at New Balance and the vision of Harvard.
And do you feel like you've been included?
Yes, this has been a really long community process. You called us vocal, and I think that that's a good way to put it, but really, anyone who lives in Alston-Brighton, we should all just have masters in urban planning at this point, because every community meeting, we're talking about how the shadows will fall on our houses, how the water will drain out of the streets, really technical details, all the way to the grand scale of how are we going to drive here, where are we going to go shopping, and where are we going to go to dinner after we go to work. And our community has done a lot of work to answer those questions.
Are you also okay with the Harvard thing? Because they kind of screwed us all over for a while there.
Well, thank you for calling it what it was. No, I really think that Harvard has been a partner with the community, and they're listening. It's a long process, and I can't thank the people enough who are part of that Harvard-Alston task
that's been
force.
A dead-end zone there for about 7 or 8 years, maybe longer. I'd like to bring Barry Bluestone from Northeastern University into the discussion here. Well, as we said earlier, 50 projects around the city of Boston. Some of them are darned annoying. I mean, this one isn't really going to affect very many people other than us, but just describe health and wellness. I never thought of it like that, but so we have all these pockets, innovation and now this. I mean, that's a plan.
Well, we started with the Innovation District out in South Boston, and that was, you know, going to completely change that area of the city. And now Allston, Brighton, and Northeastern University has an institutional master plan that will add thousands, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square feet. We've got a new residence hall going up. What the city really needs, and what all of these projects have to take into account, is how are we going to house all the more people coming into the city? We had a population of over 800,000 in the city of Boston in 1950. It fell to about 560,000 by 1980, and it's been building up since then, about 630,000 now, could go to 700,000, 800,000 or more. So when we have all these new projects in Allston, Brighton, in Roxbury, in Mission Hill, in South Boston Innovation District, I'm hoping we're also building enough housing, not just for people who can afford the very high price stuff, and not just for people who can are forced into kind of the subsidized housing, but what are we going to do with all the people who work for a living? It's very difficult to build housing for them that's affordable, and we got to find an answer to that problem.
That's a good point. Now, Alana, when Gail said that they were building 100 residential units, that sounded small to me.
That is small.
It is. So have you talked about that? Would you like more?
Yes, I think that we would definitely like more housing in Allston, but we want responsible housing. Barry made a fantastic point. It's not just about very high income housing, and it's not just about housing for the lowest income, but it's really about housing for people who, like me, are working young professionals, maybe starting a family or thinking about committing to the city in a way that we haven't seen in a long time. Allston and Brighton are already, I mean, there's 70,000 people in our neighborhood. We're expecting to have more, and I think that, you know, the housing is a good thing, but it has to be done in the right
this
way.
is a neighborhood that it looks like they can afford to make it affordable. But there are other neighborhoods, Barry, as you well know, that it's done. It's already overdeveloped. It's never going to be affordable.
Right. Well, we have lots of room in some parts of the city to develop. And we also have to think about the tremendous demographic change we're getting in the city. You know, after World War II, everybody moved to the suburbs. That's why we lost our population. Well, those were the baby boomers. I'm one of them. And, you know, we lived in those big homes, some of them in the suburbs, many of them in the suburbs. We're starting to think about, where do we want to live now that we're empty nesters? Many want to move back to the city. That's kind of expensive. A lot want to stay in kind of village settings like Allston, Brighton, or JP, Jamaica Plain. And the real question is, can we build new housing for us that would free up some of the older stock, which is more affordable and is of the size for young families with kids? Right now, we have lots of graduate students and young professionals living in that housing, competing with families for that housing. We need to get many of those graduate students and young professionals into new kinds of buildings that really work for them. Maybe smaller units, but with a lot of common space and with retail, a Trader Joe's, a workout space, perhaps even an innovation incubator in the same building. And I'd love to see developers think about that kind of mixed use, mixed income for Allston, Brighton, and other parts of the community.
This is going to be like striking a match and lighting it with gas, because once that thing goes up, all of these neighboring streets are going to change and transform. Market Street all the way up, Washington Street. I mean, you'll see a big change.
Yeah, we hope to. And, you know, one of the important things, it's not just about where people live, but where do people go to dinner, go to the gym, go to buy their groceries. So you hit the nail on the head. Mixed housing, mixed use, lots of density and interesting things happening will really enliven our communities.
We need a grocery store and some restaurants. All right, Barry Bluestone, Alana Olson, thanks so much.
Thank you.